A video of an emotional woman on a plane saying that the man next to her was not real goes viral.
That motherfucker back there is not real!
This is followed by multiple videos of people claiming to have witnessed the man's eyes wink from side to side.
When he winked at me, and it was his left eye looking back at me, it didn't wink like this. It winked like this.
It didn't like this. It was almost like his pupils winked. It was like from like this way.
A video from 2022 falsely claims that it captured the event. And while it all goes viral, many of us can smell the nonsense. A Freemason with 300,000 followers on TikTok releases a video claiming to be the actual man from the plane.
So we're attempting to fly out of Dallas, Fort Worth, and then basically this woman, she sits next to me and she's clearly been drinking. I'm minding my own business, and sure enough, she sees my hoodie that has this Freemason logo on it. And on top of that, she noticed my ring, so she started to ask questions. Nothing dramatic, just asked me, do I know what these symbols mean? Why am I wearing it? What's the purpose? Yada, yada, yada. And long story short, I basically just say, hey, I'm a Freemason. Next thing I know, she basically starts to grill me about low-level Freemason and that it's all Satanism and that it's ruled by reptilians and blah, blah, blah. So I simply put my hood up and I started to ignore her and basically just mind my own business. So moral of the story, don't believe everything you hear on the internet.
You cannot believe anything you hear on the internet or anywhere else for that matter. And there are two main reasons why this all went viral. First off, the story of reptilian humanoids living among us goes all the way back to the beginning of recorded history. The oldest official writings on Earth are the Sumerian texts. They describe a reptilian race that genetically modified human beings with their own reptilian DNA. All three of the Abrahamic religions describe a reptilian race of humanoids that live among us. The story of the Garden of Eden in the Torah, wherein Adam and Eve were created in the image of the Elohim, reptilian beings known as the Nachash began breeding with Eve so that they could be more like the Elohim. According to the Torah, these Nachash were obsessed with genetic modification and still live among us today, where they feed off a substance called afar, which is the same substance that human beings are made of. In the Christian Bible, this creature is described as a serpent in a tree. In the Nag Hammadi, early Christian Gnostics wrote of a race of creatures known as the Archons, described as a reptilian humanoid. These Archons fed off of humans, including negative emotions such as fear and anger. The Quran also has writings that describe reptilian creatures who live among us, known as the jinn. The Australian Aboriginal people have traditions and paintings that date back thousands of years, depicting a rainbow serpent creator god. And about 10,000 miles away, the Aztec Mayan serpent gods Kulkukan and Quetzalcoatl are also described as rainbow serpents, and were believed to have created human beings using their own DNA. This is found everywhere. The Druids of England called it Hakpen. The Romans called it Glykon. In Africa, it was Niami Niami. In Egypt, it was Apapis. Many royal bloodlines have claimed to be descendants of these serpent gods, such as Alexander the Great of Macedon, Emperor Jimmu of Japan, and the Dragon Dynasty of Media, now known as Iran. The Nagas serpent beings of India are believed to still live among us in underground cities, and the Hopi Indians have stories of underground cities that are home to thousands of lizard people. Modern science supports the idea that humans have been genetically modified in the distant past, and neuroscientist Paul MacLean introduced the triune brain model, which is based on an evolutionary view of human brain development, the reptilian brain being the most primal. This is where our fight or flight response comes from. It is the home of our lower ego mind. If we are part reptilian, then this could explain why we are so flawed and why we have Jesus to show us how to behave. Which brings us to the second reason why this all went viral. The reptilian brain craves attention and a distraction, anything to avoid looking at one's own flaws. But the only power that we really have is the power to change ourselves, the power to raise our own consciousness. And for every person who fails to do this, the world is left with another mentally ill person, adding to all the chaos. Reporting for InfoWars, this is Greg Reese.